Ever get that feeling like you're just drowning in information? Like we're always trying to learn new things from the web, but what if the way we format information is actually making it harder? Today we're diving into something that might surprise you. HTML. It's not just code, it might be the key to unlocking a whole new level of learning from the web with the help of AI.
It's
Yeah.
funny, right?
Yeah.
We think of HTML as the stuff behind the scenes of a website.
Right.
But researchers are finding that feeding HTML directly to AI models could be revolutionary.
Okay, I'll admit, when I first saw this research, HTMLRA, HTML is better than plain text for modeling retrieved knowledge in RAG systems. I was a little skeptical, like AI can actually read HTML in a meaningful way? Wouldn't all that code just confuse things?
It's not about AI literally seeing the web page like we do. Think of it this way. HTML is basically a recipe for how information is organized and related.
Okay.
Headings tell you what's coming next.
Right.
Tables lay out data in a structured way. Plain text is just a jumbled list of ingredients, but HTML is the full set of instructions.
So it's like the difference between reading a random sentence from a book versus understanding the whole chapter with all the context and connections.
Exactly. And the research points out something really interesting. When we strip content down to plain text,
Okay.
we lose a ton of information. Tables turn into messy jumbles, and those little code tags that highlight important terms, gone.
Okay, so losing all that structure makes it harder for us to understand things. But how does that affect AI?
Well, it turns out those large language models that power a lot of AI applications
Right.
have actually encountered a massive amount of HTML during their training. Remember, the web is their main learning ground.
Right.
So in a way, they already have a sense of what HTML means and how it works.
Oh, wait, so they're kind of like secret web developers in their spare time?
Uh-huh.
I never thought of it that way.
That's a great way to put it. And if we can tap into that existing knowledge of HTML structure, it opens up amazing possibilities.
Right.
Imagine using AI to learn not just from web pages, but from any document that can be converted to HTML. PDFs, Word documents, even scientific papers written in latex.
Whoa, hold on. So we're not just talking about making Google searches smarter. We're talking about potentially changing how AI interacts with all kinds of information.
Absolutely. But there's a challenge. The average HTML page is huge.
Right.
Way too much for AI to process efficiently.
Yeah, that makes sense. Even I get overwhelmed by some of those super long web pages.
Right. So the researchers came up with a clever solution, a two-step pruning process.
Okay.
First, they clean up the HTML, stripping out all the stuff that doesn't actually add meaning. Think of it like decluttering a messy room before you start organizing. They get rid of things like CSS, JavaScript, and redundant tags.
So basically, they're getting rid of the visual fluff and focusing on the core information structure.
Exactly. Then comes the really interesting part, HTML pruning. They use AI models to intelligently cut out the less relevant parts of the HTML, focusing on what the user is actually searching for. It's like having a super-powered research assistant who can sift through mountains of information and pull out exactly what you need.
Okay, that sounds amazing, but how does it actually work? Do they just throw all the HTML at the AI and hope for the best?
Not quite. They use two types of AI models for this: embedding models and generative models. Think of the embedding model as a librarian who knows the general layout of the library and can point you toward the right section.
Okay.
It analyzes your search query and the HTML to figure out which parts are most likely relevant.
So it narrows down the search, but doesn't actually read every single book. That's pretty smart.
Right. Then the generative model comes in. It's like a scholar who can actually read and understand the books. It dives deeper into the selected sections of the HTML,
Okay.
analyzes the text within different tags,
Right.
and figures out which specific sentences or paragraphs are most important.
So it's like a two-step verification process.
Yeah.
The embedding model does a first pass based on general relevance, and then the generative model makes sure you're really getting the most crucial information.
Exactly.
I like it. But does it actually work?
The results are pretty amazing.
Okay, tell me more. We're talking better answers, faster searches. What's the good news?
Across a variety of question-answering tests and data sets, using HTML in these so-called RAG systems, basically combining search with AI to answer your questions, led to significantly better answers compared to plain text.
That's what I like to hear. But of course, nothing's perfect, right? What are the trade-offs here?
Well, using AI to prune HTML does add a little bit of computational cost.
So there's always a price to pay for efficiency.
True, but here's the kicker. It's still way less costly than running the large language model to answer the question without pruning.
So that what's like spending a little extra time up front to make sure you're using the right tool for the job, which saves you even more time and effort in the long run.
You got it. And the study found that in most cases, full HTML pruning with both models is totally worth it for the best results.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But what if you're working with a really tight budget or limited processing power? Is there a shortcut?
Absolutely. Even basic pruning, just using the embedding model,
Okay.
gives you a good boost in efficiency without sacrificing too much accuracy. It's all about finding the right balance between power and efficiency.
This is seriously cool stuff. So the takeaway here is that the way we format information really matters, even something as seemingly basic as HTML.
Absolutely. We tend to think of formatting as just a visual thing,
Yeah.
but it actually encodes a lot of semantic information, meaning for AI.
Yeah.
And if we can help AI understand that meaning.
It's like HTML might not be the flashiest tool in the shed, but it could be the secret ingredient to supercharging how we learn from the web.
Right. I love that analogy.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, what other hidden potential might be lurking in the structured formats we use every day? What about spreadsheets, presentations, even code itself?
Ooh, that's a good point. If we can teach AI to understand the underlying structure of those formats,
Right.
who knows what kind of insights we might uncover.
Exactly. This research opens up a whole new avenue for exploring how we can leverage structured information to enhance AI's ability to learn and reason.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm definitely seeing the web with new eyes now.
Yeah.
It's not just a collection of pages anymore. It's a vast network of structured information just waiting to be unlocked.
Mm-hmm.
And HTML might be the key.
It really might be.
This has been an incredible deep dive so far. But before we go any further, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question. If we can use HTML to unlock knowledge from web pages,
What other structured formats could hold hidden potential? What about spreadsheets, presentations, even code itself? We're surrounded by these incredibly rich formats,
Right.
each with its own unique way of organizing and representing information.
it's like we've been trying to force all of that data into plain text to make it digestible for AI, like trying to fit square pegs into round holes. And we're losing so much valuable context in the process.
Exactly. But now, with the advances in AI and natural language processing,
Yeah.
we have the opportunity to change that. Imagine training AI models to understand not just the words on a spreadsheet, but the relationships between those cells, the formulas used to calculate them,
Yeah.
the formatting that highlights key insights.
Whoa, hold on. You're saying my messy spreadsheets could actually be gold mines for AI?
Haha.
Tell me more.
Think about it. It'd be like giving AI the ability to see the patterns and connections that we as humans might miss. Instead of just seeing a bunch of numbers,
Right.
AI could understand the story those numbers are telling.
Okay, I'm starting to see the potential here. But spreadsheets still feel kind of dry?
Yeah.
What about something more visual, like presentations?
Presentations are fascinating. They're designed to tell a story, to
Yeah.
guide the audience through a series of ideas in a logical way. What if we could teach AI to understand the narrative structure of a presentation, the visual cues that emphasize key points, the flow of information from one slide to the next?
We could unlock a whole new level of understanding, not just of the content itself,
Right.
but of the intent behind it, the message the creator was trying to convey.
Yeah.
It's like AI could learn to read between the lines, not just the bullet points.
Precisely. And then there's code. Code is, by its very nature, structured information. It's a language with its own syntax and logic.
Right.
What if we could leverage that structure to help AI learn to program, to debug software,
Yeah.
even to generate new code based on a set of requirements?
Okay, now we're talking about some serious sci-fi stuff. AI writing its own code. That sounds both amazing and a little terrifying.
It definitely has huge implications, but think about the possibilities. We could automate complex programming tasks,
Yeah.
create more efficient software,
Right.
even develop entirely new types of applications that we can't even imagine yet.
It's like we're standing at the edge of a whole new frontier. We're just starting to scratch the surface of what AI can do. And this research with HTML is just a glimpse of what might be possible.
And what makes it so exciting is that these advancements in AI are happening alongside the explosion of data we're seeing. Every day we're creating more spreadsheets,
Yeah.
more presentations, more code, more structured information than ever before.
So it's like we're building this massive library of knowledge, but we haven't had the right tools to fully explore it.
Right.
And now AI is giving us the keys to unlock its secrets.
Exactly. And the possibilities are truly mind-blowing. We could be on the verge of a revolution in how we interact with information, how
Right.
we learn, how we solve problems.
It's an exciting time to be alive, that's
Yeah.
for sure. But I have to admit, I'm also a little overwhelmed. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
Where do we even begin to make sense of all this?
Well, I think the first step is to simply be aware of the potential,
Okay.
to start seeing the world with new eyes, recognizing that the way we format information has a profound impact on how we understand it and how AI can learn from it.
So it's not just about creating more data. It's about creating better data. Data that's structured in a way that makes it easier for both humans and AI to learn and extract meaning.
Absolutely. And as we develop more sophisticated tools for working with structured data,
Mm.
I think we're going to see a shift from simply collecting data to actually curating it.
Like a museum curator, carefully selecting and arranging artifacts to tell a story.
That's a great analogy. We need to start thinking about data as more than just raw material.
Right.
It's a valuable resource that needs to be carefully organized and presented to unlock its full potential.
That's a powerful thought. It's not just about the quantity of information anymore. It's about the quality of the structure, the relationships, the context that makes information truly meaningful.
And that's where the real magic happens. Because when we can connect information in meaningful ways,
Right.
that's when we start to see the bigger picture, to make new discoveries, to solve complex problems.
This has been an incredible deep dive. It feels like we've gone from exploring the nuts and bolts of HTML to pondering the very nature of knowledge itself. But before we wrap things up, I have one final question for you. If AI can learn so much from something as seemingly simple as HTML, what's the next frontier? What other kinds of structures are out there just waiting to be unlocked?
That's the big question, isn't it? And the answer might be closer than we think.
Okay.
Take something like sheet music.
Okay.
It's essentially a structured language that conveys melody, harmony, and rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
What if AI could learn to read music the way a musician does?
Right.
Understanding not just the notes, but the emotions,
Yeah.
the style, the subtle nuances that make each piece unique.
Wow. I never thought about it that way. AI composing symphonies,
Right.
analyzing jazz improvisations, maybe even coming up with entirely new genres of music. That's wild.
It's definitely a mind-blowing possibility, and it's not just limited to creative arts.
Right.
Think about medical imaging data like X-rays, MRIs, and CT scans. Okay.
They're full of complex patterns and subtle variations that can be difficult, even for trained professionals to interpret.
Right.
But AI, with an understanding of the underlying structure of these images,
Yeah.
could potentially detect anomalies,
Right.
diagnose diseases, and even predict health risks with incredible accuracy.
So AI could become like a super-powered radiologist, seeing things in those images that human eyes might miss.
Exactly. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
We can apply this thinking to almost any domain that relies on structured data. Financial markets, weather patterns, social networks, the list goes on and on.
It feels like this whole idea of structure is the key that unlocks a deeper level of understanding for AI.
It really is.
It's not just about processing data, it's about understanding the relationships, the context, the patterns that give that data meaning.
I couldn't agree more. And the more we can help AI to see and understand these structures,
Yeah.
the more we can unlock its potential to solve problems, make discoveries.
And create new possibilities that we can't even imagine yet.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed and a whole lot inspired at the same time. This whole journey started with something as seemingly mundane as HTML, and now we're talking about AI composing music and diagnosing diseases.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that sometimes the most unexpected places hold the greatest potential for discovery.
That's the beauty of exploration, isn't it? You
Yeah.
never know where it might lead you.
Right.
And in this case, it's leading us towards a future where AI can not only process information, but truly understand it, unlocking a whole new level of insight and innovation.
It's definitely an exciting time to be alive. And as we continue to explore the power of structured data, I have a feeling we're just getting started.
Me too.
Who knows what incredible breakthroughs await us in the years to come.
Only time will tell, but I'm certainly looking forward to the journey.
Me too.
Well, that's a wrap for today's deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, from the surprising power of HTML to the vast potential of structured data for AI. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those big questions.